Hey everyone, here's a quick heads up. The Agile Online Summit is coming soon. You can get all the details at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. Yes, it's all lowercase, all one word. That's bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. Stick with us till the end of the episode to know the dates, the tracks, and some surprises we have ready for you. But for now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from South Africa, we have Johann Botha. Hey, Johann, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
So Johann helps build digital age capabilities by developing practical skills to help organizations solve problems, grow people, facilitate difficult change, dream, scheme, but most importantly, get things done. He's a longtime proponent of Lean and Agile, consults, coaches, and speaks and writes about the topic. And he is the chief examiner for the EXIN Agile Scrum product. So Johann, that was a short intro. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I'm going to take you down a little bit of a journey. In the mid-90s, I was tasked to put a team of people together to start an ISP. And we quickly realized that if we wanted to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, we can't just provide connectivity. So we put a lot of effort into developing stuff that would run on the internet. Yeah. That sounds weird today, but in the 1990s, that was actually quite a radical idea.
It was revolutionary, right?
It was revolutionary, yeah. And I schooled myself up. I went and did a project management course, and then I realized that together with the team that this project management stuff just didn't work.
I've been there.
At the same
I know how it feels.
Yeah, at the same time, I was a big proponent of Lean. So Lean was sort of new then in the West. And as a team, we decided to default to working as a startup again. Started using some of the Lean concepts in the way that we build and develop product. Luckily, the internet was there, so we could find out what people were doing elsewhere in the world. And we came across RAD, which later became DSTM, which later became ABC. And we started...
These are all kind of early flavors of lighter software development methodologies, right?
Yeah. So that was sort of a forerunner. Yeah, DSTM was one of the people at the mountain resort in Colorado when Agile was defined, was one of the DSTM guys. But we also used ideas from Spiral and from XP. And the reason why we were tasked to actually start this thing is because the company that I worked for was getting for an IPO. And we needed to do some more sexy stuff, that the market would like. But my boss was a little bit impatient, and we didn't progress commercially as fast as he thought we would. So he pulled the plug on us. But it was a really good and interesting experience. I then started doing consulting work because I was involved in preparing the company for the IPO. And started helping other organizations, also preparing for IPOs, and got involved with a bunch of stockbrokers. And they asked me to identify potential investment companies that we can, sort of prepare and groom for a listing later. And the more and more I worked with these companies, I saw that they had exactly the same problem, especially if it was people who did development work. But that wasn't my focus then. It was just interesting, and I shared some of my experiences. And then came the .com bust.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, and when I left the company that was preparing for the IPO, I went on my own. So I had a lot of actually everything invested in some of these companies that we've identified and on the stock market. So I basically walked out of that experience with my pants on.
Yeah, and many of us went
But
through that. Anyone that had money invested in the early 2000s, late 1999, kind of lost a lot just as the year changed.
yeah, so then I started working for a boss again, and I started doing consulting work around IT service management. But I found it so frustrating the way that many of the organizations' approach to good practice was to control C, control V. So
They still
the
do
lean thing
today.
stayed with me. Yeah, they do. So the lean thing stayed with me, and I tried to influence things, making it better. But eventually, in 2008, I decided to go it alone again, and I started a consulting company that would predominantly work in the service management space, but approach service management from a more lean perspective. And very soon, some of our customers started asking, oh, and one of the things that we did as part of that was obviously to offer training. So very soon, some of our customers started asking us for training on project management. But it just gave me the willies. I just didn't want to do that. And I sat back and I said to myself, but why do you feel that way? Yeah, and I had to critically look back, literally, 15 years or 12 years to that experience that I had. And I then realized that the rat stuff was DSDM, and I said, okay, let me get qualified in the DSDM space and see if that's something that I want to teach to our customers. I did, and we did. And as I started working more in the consulting space, I realized that DSDM was quite often a little bit too heavy-handed, even though it's a relatively light approach. And I started using Scrum more and more. Eventually we included Scrum in our portfolio of services, and we specifically chose the EXIN Agile Scrum product. And the reason for that was many of the Scrum certifications, the first level of certification is how can I say it without
Not good enough, I guess.
Is not advanced enough, and not practical enough. And that's why we chose the EXIN approach, because it is actually advanced level certification. I just cannot see how you can faff around in a classroom for 2-3 days and then walk out and call yourself a master.
If we take that idea further, Johann, and from your experience, and I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on this question, since it's a question I've debated with myself. In your experience, why is it that project management cannot work for software development?
I think there's two reasons. The one reason is most of our customers actually don't know what they want. So the only way that we can actually work on something that is workable is to do something, show them, and then they can say, "Oh, that's not what I want." So if you don't have an iterative approach, you're not going to get to the answer. And if you use the traditional approach, you try and get a bunch of people speaking to a business analyst who speak to a bunch of programmers it's like a broken telephone. And eventually,
Totally.
2 years down the line, we deliver stuff that doesn't work. And that's one of the things that frustrated me from the project management thing, is that and that's most probably the reason why I didn't want to do project management stuff when my customers asked me for it, is because if I look back at the history of projects that I was involved in during the 2000s, virtually all of them, or let me rephrase that, none of them was delivered on time, on budget, and most of them delivered at least some part of the project that sucked. Yeah. And the only way that we can fix that is by doing something, actively working with customers, and discovering what their real needs is. And the second reason, because remember I said there were two reasons, is that the world around us is changing so fast that pre-planning is just a terrible idea. And that goes for most of the agile approaches that tries to scale, because they all depend on bar nexus, depend on pre-planning.
Mm. And why do you think that we are still stuck? Because this is a question I'm debating with right now. Like, why are we, knowing and having the evidence that pre-planning and especially predictive planning doesn't work, why are we stuck in that cycle?
I think there's many reasons for it, and one of them most probably is outdated modes of thinking within the management space. If you think about the way that success in organizations are measured, and how we try and keep our organizations safe, the underlying metrics for those ideas are basically industrial age thinking, and that's why I think that's why it's so difficult to actually make the shift. Yeah, I did an MBA probably, 20 years ago. And I reckon a good 60-70% of what I've learned is no longer applicable. So
if it was ever when it comes to software development, right? Let's not forget that.
No, I think there were value in lots of the things that I've learned at the time. The thing that scares the out of me is
well
if
said.
you look at MBA programs today, they still look the same. That's a big problem.
And they ignore breakthroughs that we have gathered at the expense of a lot of suffering, pain, and even lives. When it comes to work organization, one just needs to think about, and I recorded recently a podcast about the TWI program in the US, that's Training Within Industry program in the US. And we've learned a lot of lessons about how to train and prepare supervisors and managers for the work that they need to do, that we aren't even applying today. And this is stuff that is going on for a century old.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I often say to people, you can't think about Frederick Taylor anymore. You have to think about Frederick Laloux. Now, I don't know if you've read Laloux's work. It's quite radical. But the point is that industrial age thinking is no longer applicable, because we work with knowledge workers today. So the role of managers and leaders in the organization has changed. In fact, I don't believe you should have supervisors in organizations, because adults don't need supervision. But adults that are able to tackle complex issues and do good work needs motivation. They need assistance. Yeah, and if we actually think about the role of a Scrum Master, many of those things that the Scrum Master needs to do, all management needs to do. Yeah,
that's actually a very good point. I mean, I've been saying for a while now that Scrum Master role is where future CEOs should go to learn their role.
Well, they can also go to Lean. It's not a new idea. It's 60 years old. Go see, ask why, show respect.
And lean comes from TWI, training within industry. It's kind of rehashed principles that were exported from the US to Japan after the Second World War and then re-imported again with the new name. Johann, it's been a wonderful conversation. We're getting close to the end of this episode, but hey, stay tuned, everybody, because tomorrow we're going to have Johann again to talk about why teams fail. So thank you, Johann.
Just one thing before you go. What I wanted to say is I'm not a Scrum Master.
Yeah, so that's it, everybody. So stay tuned for his thoughts tomorrow on Teams. Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around. So, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, on October 22nd this year, we will have the first day of the Agile Online Summit 2024. The summit will take place from October 22nd to 24th, so make sure you book your calendars as there will be loads of sessions for you to attend, including live QAs with the speakers, networking sessions, and more. This year, we're also organizing regular networking events online so that you get to talk and meet your peers before the summit even starts. So if you want to know more, check them out at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. That's all one word, all lowercase. That's bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. You can sign up for a free ticket and get notified when those warm-up events will be organized. So stay tuned. Now, regarding the summit, our opening keynote will be Marshall Goldsmith's exposition of a project he's been working on for a while. That's marshallgoldsmith.ai. And Marshall is an author and also a leadership coach who sold over 3 million books worldwide and has been considered twice #1 leadership thinker in the world by Thinker 50. And you definitely don't want to miss that. If you want to know more about the tracks, here they are. We will have 4 tracks. The first track is Shift from Product to People. In this track, we will explore what we call the third wave of Agile adoption, exploring psychological safety, coaching techniques, and more to unlock your team's potential. In this track, you can learn to foster trust, encourage innovation, and build high-performing teams. Transform your approach and the future of Agile to be much more people-centric. The second track we have for you is Value-Centric Product Development. In this track, we will learn how to master product management and ownership by focusing on value. We will learn to identify, validate, and deliver what customers truly need, and dive into customer-centric approaches, experimentation techniques, and continuous market validation ideas. We have to accept that if Agile is to succeed, we have to become value-centric, and that's what we explore in this track. The next track is titled Agile Coaching Masterclass. We want to help take your coaching to the next level and transform team performance. Develop key Agile coaching skills, emphasizing people-centric and value-centric approaches in line with the previous tracks. And we will help you learn how to guide teams towards value focus and effectiveness. In this track, we want to help you unlock the potential of the individuals and the organizations you will be working with. After all, the future of Agile is coaching-centric. And finally, the last track, and definitely not the least, is all about the future of Agile. Explore the trends shaping Agile's evolution. The previous 3 tracks do that as well. Discover real-world success stories from innovative companies pushing the boundaries of what's possible today, and learn how practitioners are evolving Agile practices, gain insights in how to revolutionize your own approach. After all, the future of Agile is here, so let's explore it. You will also have the opportunity to network with your peers, so get your ticket and join our Slack at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit. That's all lowercase, all one word, bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. As always, we have free tickets and the VIP tickets, so check them out. It will all be available at bit.ly/Agile Online Summit 24. I'll see you on the conference floor.